Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Greg.
Chris here.
We are doing our very first visual podcast, so welcome to the set. Very basic right now, but
we've upgraded.
Yeah, we're happy to have this right now so we can bring you guys more content. But this podcast episode, we are going to be going over the Petersburg house that we were at, as we call it, the demonic house.
Yeah, the different day shift versus night shift episode.
Yes. It was actually our very first abandoned property we decided to go to.
Yep.
And we did not expect to get what we got. But we do enjoy the evidence that we did find because that makes it worthwhile.
Lots of personal experiences. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah. So during the day, going there, we didn't really feel like much. We kind of...
No, but it was exciting. It was fascinating to see left behind stuff, so to speak.
Yeah. We kind of went there and looked around, traveled around the area a little bit, and saw that it was a trailer park, I think 2 or 3 years ago before we found it in the state that it was in now.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be demolished soon too. So I'm glad we got there the time frame that we did.
Yeah, soon any of that may not be there at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, it might be gone before even the end of the year. But it was definitely chilling at night. I will say that much.
Well, yeah, it was definitely a coin turned on its head.
Yeah, the energy definitely shifted when we got there. I want to say, what time did we get there? Around 11, 12, something like that.
I want to say 11:30. Yeah.
Yeah, it was some time around there. Just pulling in, it felt like a whole different ordeal.
All permission allowed to be there.
So being there, we decided to bring just a couple pieces of equipment. We brought the spirit box, and the main reason we brought the spirit box was because that's what we like to communicate with.
It's the easiest to connect with and use with our goosebump compasses, I guess you could say.
Yeah, we don't do Ouija boards. We don't do any kind of, I guess you could call it witchcrafty style of communicating. We don't do any seances, stuff like that. We keep it kind of high-tech, low-key, if you could think of it that way. So we do the spirit boxes. We try and do the REM pods. We do, I got a bunch of different kind of lights that we can use. But we just brought the REM pod. It's like a lantern that we used, and we used a spirit box at night.
I brought my dowsing rods too, I believe.
Yep, we did use that too. But the spirit box, we brought it because we were like, why not ask a few questions? And going back at night, I think that we were more eager to ask questions because of how much the energy had shifted there.
Yeah, because right away when we were setting up, it took about 20, 25 minutes to set up. We were feeling stuff.
Yeah.
And then you immediately pulled out the spirit box first. You were using it before I was. But we kind of cohesively, it seemed like this, maybe our second time doing it, but we were able to figure out how to ask a question, wait the proper amount of time before the next person asks another question, and give it time. Yeah. That all happened cohesively, so.
Well, it took a little bit longer to have a setup inside the place because we kept having things like he was saying around us. So
right ways, feeling stuff like you're being. Excuse me, I yawned again.
You'll make me yawn.
Feeling like you're being watched, feeling like you're being followed, like something's right there, about a chair's length away from you. As far how close.
It felt like stuff was around us outside too.
Yeah,
we kept hearing footsteps. We kept hearing twigs snapping.
Whenever we heard a voice or we had a voice come to the spirit box, it was always more than one talking at once or more than one talking to each other. They weren't really talking to us. The ones that were talking all at once, it was almost like they were arguing or talking to each other too. So there was that.
Well, what I gotta say about this place, which is a little bit different than most places with the spirit box, is we generally hear things coming out of the speaker box while we're doing an investigation, but this time around, we heard some stuff, but the amount of evidence that I pulled out of editing the footage,
right,
it was 30 to 70% difference. Mm-hmm. So, we went to Hollywood, we went to Dale Memorial. I mean, you were having voices coming out of the speaker box left and right. we had a lot of energy there.
Yeah.
This place, it felt more like, would you say, residual and
Well, I would say like this place.
personal?
This place felt like, how you walk into a room and someone just got done with an argument. Felt like you were walking into that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the crowded feeling we had at Hollywood Cemetery. This had more of a. It might have been the same amount of whatevers were there, but this had a more sinister or negative feeling. There was definitely oppression and then depression.
Yeah, no, what's crazy and what surprised me about the whole investigation was the fact that we felt stuff around us. We felt stuff there. We were hearing things. We were seeing things. But we didn't realize how demonic it was until I went back and reviewed stuff. So things like, I guess, manifestation, or manipulation, I guess would be the best word, of voices or people that sound familiar to you or your name being called.
Right. Or like hearing your own voice.
Yes.
Yelling out your name for you.
Which I wasn't able to put it in the video. It actually might be in there. But there was a couple times you went to go say something while you had the speaker box, and it echoed along with you while you were saying it in your voice.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I don't know if I put it in the video or not. I can't remember. I mean, I rewatched it like 2 or 3 times.
You also put something really funny in the beginning of the video, though.
Oh, yeah. No, if Chris yawns, burps, or farts, it's going to go in there.
Oily ducks.
Yeah. What's funny is we try to keep it lighthearted, during the day and stuff. And then, like I said, going back at night, just the energy shifted. So
yeah, I want to say there was only 2 other places we went to before where it felt like something flipped your goosebump gauge on right away.
Yeah.
Most, like Hollywood Cemetery, I would say it was a build-up and we were getting it.
Yeah.
This place was there right away. You sat down the lamp that had the touch-sensitive antennas on it. That's supposed to change color. Right after you set it down, and we started turning on the spirit box. It was like goosebump gauge.
Yeah.
Engage. And
even us, and what's crazy is leaving the house and going to that office that was across the property.
Yeah.
That is where most of the EVPs were captured while we were not there. Most of the REM pod activity. So I did not put a static camera or anything on the lantern this time around, which I wish I would have done because of how much evidence we got. So that was my bad. We'll do that next time. But most of the stuff happened while we were gone.
Yeah.
And the freaky things is like...
So like a lot of stuff was happening and we weren't asking questions.
Yeah. But like the freakiest, things are like... The things that it was saying, it sounded like it was right next to us. So we were literally like joking, like, haha, all right, we'll be back.
Yeah.
And then that voice came out that said that they're leaving.
Wow. They knew what we were doing right away.
And it was like it went with the sounds that we were doing. And it's so crazy. It's a lot of the EVPs and stuff that we capture goes along with noises, or it goes along with the camera or the microphone doing a certain adjustment. You hear a voice on the back end. Like you asked one of the questions. So we asked like, I don't know, maybe a series of like 10 questions with the voice recorder. And
yeah, that was another piece of tech we brought, was the digital voice recorder.
And the one question you asked, we got the voice that sounded like a little girl, and it was very faint, and it said, hide in the blood.
Hide in the blood.
Hide in the blood. And we had so many different voices come from just this one property. And that would make sense because the property was back in the 1940s, so what we're told. And the fact that it was a trailer park, there was multiple people living on that property. Us, what we picked up, like you said, oppression, depression, manipulation.
Someone got, taken advantage of.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Someone had something taken away from them.
Yeah. And the evidence that we got kind of
innocence,
supports that stuff.
Like the loss of innocence. And I have goosebumps when I'm saying that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like we heard the one male voice that said, want to play, and the female saying, I don't want to play right now. And when you hear something so crisp like that, it gives you goosebumps.
Especially if they're saying more than just a couple words. They both said whole sentences.
Yeah.
What makes up a sentence is three or more words. So.
And what's weird too is like, I joke with him because most of the time we go on investigations, we'll have something come through the speaker box, and it'll be like balloon, and he'll go, I think it's that elephant. Like he sometimes hears things different, which everybody does differently, spiritually hear stuff. But this time around, I heard everything wrong. So everything that came through, I guessed it way off.
Or your interpretation of it was just different, because that happens too.
Yeah, and like for me, I have severe ADHD, so a lot of times when we're on investigations, the slightest sound, like outside the building, like if I hear a twig snap or sounds like a footstep or a leaf crunch, my attention, I go to that, and then all of a sudden something comes out the speaker box, and I might have heard it wrong, or sometimes I miss things coming out of it because I was paying attention over here.
Well, I mean, that could be warranted because, we're inside of a structure, let's say, and it's primarily silent except for what we're creating for noise.
Yeah.
And there's silence, and something outside of that wall across from you, and you hear a branch break, leaves being puttered.
Which is nuts because with the voice recorder...
Oh, you recorded those, someone snapping their fingers.
Dude, that was so weird. It was oh my God. Like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. The snap, and then the voice that went, "You're dead." But it said it in like an angry, faint whisper.
Like I was doing the taunt. Like "You're dead."
Like with a snap of my finger, you can die. And not only that, but then afterwards, like maybe a minute after, I heard the finger snap, and then it was a louder finger snap. And so I'm sitting there like
two different distinct ones.
Like it was in different areas of the home. And then...
Like the one that was lower, further away, the one that was louder, closest.
But the amount of bangs on the wall that we picked up, like
I don't know what was up with that.
Slammed against the wall or something stepping on the wood or something, but you heard it where it sounded like...
The one sounded like someone threw that plastic chair that was in there.
Yeah, it sounded like stuff was happening outside the home, inside the home, and even right next to the voice recorder. Because you can hear how faint... Like if you do enough sound, you can hear.
So we set the voice recorder stationary, kind of like our mic. I don't know if you can see it, on a outdoor plastic chair. Excuse me, in the center of the back room,
it's a good
facing out towards that doorway, and we left it alone.
Yeah. Well, we tried to put it in so.
We made sure the voice recorder was flat, so it wouldn't be pinging off the plastic surface. We made sure we did all that.
Well, most of the dark energy that we felt, most of the negativity, was in. I guess it was just the one bedroom because it was like a 1-bedroom home. But it was in the back room, very dark, very negative, a lot of like just bad feelings, bad goosebumps. So we were like, why not put the voice recorder in here?
Yeah,
and that was a good decision. We did that.
I mean, the darkest room, the only room, didn't have a window. That was weird.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of windows in there.
The structure was...
It was very tiny, too.
The structure was hand built. The ceiling was right at the top of your head. Like, I'm pretty sure your hair was touching the ceiling at one point. So it was very low. There was 3 windows. One in the front room closest to the door, which would have been a side door. Because there was also one right next to what would have been the front door. We didn't use the front door. The front door seemed to be locked from both sides at the same time, which is weird.
But the other door was wide open.
Yeah. And then the other window was in this room that was made separate on the floor. It was the only room that had like this off-color fake vinyl on the floor, which would make you think it was what would have been or could be a kitchen.
Yeah.
So that was it for windows.
Well, they definitely had to have some kind of kitchen service in there or something.
I don't know how that bathroom worked out. The bathroom was the smallest thing.
That bathroom was so tiny. I wouldn't be able to deal with it.
The bathtub was primarily most of the room of this bathroom, and it was laid out against the back wall, and then up against it to the left was where the toilet is.
Yeah.
And literally sitting above where you'd want to plant your butt cheeks is where the sink is.
Yeah.
And the sink was up against the door, and they changed the hinges on the door because the door opened out when we know normally they open in.
Well, it looks like whoever put it together definitely did it half-ass or
they built it from scratch. I could say that.
Yeah. So, but it being there from the 40s you know, I mean, if it is from that actual time frame, you know, that's what we were.
Yeah,
told.
I mean, I would want to say that office farther down.
Oh, that's newer.
Was the newer structure?
Yeah, that was the newer structure.
So,
but the fact that something so simple could harbor so much dark energy, we didn't expect that at all. Like I said, so a lot of the stuff we picked up was stuff just kind of sticking around, but also I don't know if a demonic depression was there because of all the stuff that's happened, because sometimes that will happen. Now, the other idea we have is the fact that if you travel down the main road before you take the right to get there, I won't say the street names, but there is a funeral crematorium on the main road. And then if you go down past where we were at, there is a gigantic cemetery. So basically you have place here, and then the property was diagonally in line.
yeah.
And was we really do want to go to the cemetery and see, because, you know, of course we like going into them, but see if we get access at night into that one too.
It has some strange structures.
But the weird thing is, which we didn't put in the video, but it was past 1 a.m. when we left.
I'm gonna say 1:30,
like 1:30 or 2 or something like that. But when we left, I drove down the street just to see if the cemetery was open, and the gates were open. And we drove in around the roundabout, and there's like a Catholic statue, I guess, of Mary.
Yeah.
And
Mary holding baby Jesus.
No, she had the arms down.
Oh, like
That was that
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
It was something like that. But the weirdest crap, and I swear to you, when we drove around, I noticed the statue's hands moving a little bit and the head moved. And you can ask him. I was driving and I saw it and I was like, nah, I'm good.
No, I mean, it was
drove back around.
So it was beyond beyond the fact that, you know, your headlights will reflect off another surface and make it appear as though the face or eyes are moving.
Yeah.
I saw the whole thing move its back where the back would be and shoulders.
Yeah, I saw the one movement. I looked the other way and was like, all right, we're driving. Because the amount of stuff that we felt at that property and everything we were going through, we just dealt with so much that night that there are times to where if we deal with enough stuff, you know, you're drained, you're just done for the day, your body can't handle anymore, and you got to know when to say, all right, let's wrap it up, we're good. Because if you push yourself too much, bad things can happen.
Yeah.
And that was my way of saying I'm done.
I would say out of all the places we've been to together, even before we got serious and wanted to do this, it was probably only the second times I felt like, you know how you just got done being out in the sun and you may not have realized right away you have sun poisoning, and then you go to work the next day, and then in the middle of your shift at work when you should be taking your lunch break, you got to completely stop, like you have no more energy. That's how I felt.
Just worn out. Yeah. Which
is only the second time I've ever really felt that way. Something spiritually making you feel like something physically happened to you. Because, I mean, you know, we know me. I barely like to be out in the sun. I'm not a beach bum. I don't like beaches. I don't like being out in the sun and swimming.
Well,
because I get sun poisoning and burnt so easily.
I think the fact that we got so much feedback or evidence from the equipment that we heard firsthand in a place that we thought we were going to get nothing. We were honestly just doing it for shits and giggles.
I mean, if you think about it, our equipment and us, equipment and us would work as the batteries for them.
Yeah.
But then our goosebump gauges also work as the bug light that we keep on our porch on the other side.
It was happening turning down the road and heading there. And even when I left, I told Chris, I looked back at the doorway of the house.
Oh, yeah, the shadow figure.
And I said, dude, there is a tall, shadowy figure staring at us. Like, you know.
He was right in.
It felt like
right in the door frame, like kind of like doing what a father would do.
This number,
watching the new
like
boyfriend
drive off,
take his daughter away.
No, not like that.
And
It
he's
was
the way it looked to me.
no. Let's
is
not
the
say that.
Same
'Cause it was
reaction.
you and I in the car.
No.
So it was more like
I meant the reaction.
It was more like you drive into an area you're not supposed to be.
Yeah, like you weren't
and-
supposed to be here at all. Why were you
somebody's
here?
watching you drive down the road.
Please
and
don't
then,
come back.
You know, like those old country movies where they got like the straw thing hanging out the mountain.
Yeah.
You know, watching
Or
you.
like giving you
That's
the
what
look
it felt like.
you better not come back.
Yeah, better not turn my property. You know, that's what it felt like. So that's kind of how I took it, and I was like, all right, well, I'm glad we're leaving now.
Well, the only thing I took was like, all right, it's acting that way, so you're not following us home, and you're not following me into our new place.
We don't film it, but you know, because we don't know how people feel about it. You know, with different religions and stuff like that. I mean, we are very open about a lot of things. You know, you are who you are type deal. You know, and we don't shame anybody. But we do pray a little bit. We say a small prayer before we go in for protection and for our eyes to be open spiritually in a way it needs to be to see what we need to get.
Yeah.
And we pray for protection when we leave.
We do it again and when we leave. Protection and cleansing. So.
But we don't film it because, again, you know,
I mean, if you guys want to comment or asking to see it more, we can put it in sometimes, but it's not a big thing.
No. And it's not like a normal prayer we say. It's just we just say a little something and then
and it changes all the time.
Yeah, it's just whatever we feel in the moment.
We usually trade off. It's either me or him every other time.
Because sometimes we'll go into a property or a graveyard or whatever, and we'll see crap before we even go in.
Yeah.
So as we're holding our equipment, we'll look just like, you know, I'm looking at the camera, and I'll see something or he'll see something, and we know in that moment, hey, we're about to run into this. We need to pray. Yeah. Or, hey, you know, honestly, and I do it more because, excuse me, you know, I'm worried about stuff falling because I've had that happen. I've had, you know, different experiences where things have taken over or things have followed or, you know, stuff like that. So I'm more worried about it. And of course, Hanover Tavern, and now the property in Petersburg, my name has been said through equipment. His name has not been said yet, but my name has been said, last name and first name, which is crazy. So
didn't it say your name at Hollywood Cemetery though too? The first visit, not the second one. Obviously, you guys don't know about that, so we got to catch up. There's a second part to Hollywood Cemetery we haven't posted yet.
We have shot part 2 of Hollywood. It is probably one of my next projects I'll be working on editing and putting out there. I'll have to refresh because that was a while back. We went and filmed that. But I do think my name might have been said at Hollywood. I can't.
That would make it, if you count it properly, that would be the trifecta. You know, 3, 1, 2, 3.
But it's been said different ways.
First name, last name, first name first.
Because I remember I asked at Hanover, I said, how many spirits are there in the room? And my last name, Trail, was said, and then it answered me and said 8.
Yeah. It said your last name first and then gave you the number. Which,
I have a friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine. I won't put his name out there. If you're watching, you might know who you are. But recently he had mentioned something about not trusting in like the spirit boxes and stuff like that. And I get that. Some people are kind of, they feel off about it and stuff. I mean, I get it. Because a lot of people also don't believe in demons or spirits or ghosts or angels or God or anything like that. So I understand. But that's...
Or, you know, a lot of you will believe what you see and you got to see it first.
But that's personally my experience is the fact that my name has been said out of different equipment, different locations. My name has been said differently, my last name or my first name. And the biggest thing, which I didn't really put in the video, was that someone super close to me's voice came out and said my name. So the fact that happened was even more evidence of, number one, manipulation, but also, number two, that this shit's real.
They're trying to track your attention and sound like a familiar to you, which is a mimic.
Yeah.
Which is demonic.
Yeah, it's manipulation.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, people think that, which I will say, there are times where I looked into people's equipment or, you know, certain shows will manipulate stuff. And so for guys like us who we keep it more not as edited or more raw, I guess you could say, or I keep longer
or you pick
distance of the footage.
the simple tech that can't be manipulated to other digital devices.
People will look at other videos of stuff and, you know, kind of
it's like what we're meaning, or like what I want to say would be like someone in a show is like, hey, I'm behind this app that you can get on your phone, and it works on Droid and Apple, you know, the two types of phones that are out there. But when the app, like these apps, especially the free ones that aren't paid, get turned on, you can manipulate it by under a table or off in a pocket.
Well, see, those apps...
You turn on a three-way radio, and the three-way radio will make the app think like there's something in the room.
Now, I've heard those apps are like that, though. So that's why we've never used a phone app, is because I've heard more times that have not, and even from people who are experienced, investigators and stuff, that they won't use the phone apps because the phone apps are manipulated. So they do have a database of words in them, and that's usually why they're free and stuff like that, and have advertisements on it, because they're able to push that kind of stuff. They know people are going to download it, and then if they hear something or get evidence, they're going to go, oh, well, hey, I want to use this more.
And then the three-way radio will just give it a signal to want to say those words in the database more.
Which I've also, so we watch TikTok, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So we watch like funny reels and everything. And I was telling him about a video I saw of a guy who had like a Bluetooth speaker, and he went up to a guy's door and he like knocked on it, and he recorded the sound of him knocking, and then hung the speaker up out of place, and he kept playing the sound over. So the guy that lived there answered the door and was like pissed that no one was there, but somebody kept banging on his door. And he did it like 10 times. I finally found the speaker and he like smashed it up. But somebody commented and was like, that's the same crap they use in Ghost Adventures. Which,
I mean, someone
think about it, you're like,
someone can comment. Someone can comment that, but then like the person to talk to that has that physical situation happen to them. Talked to my dad when we were on Scott Ave, where we're from in New York. Happened for like 3 years straight, every night before Halloween. And I remember one night out of the three happening.
Would the doors get knocked on?
Yeah, me and my sister were up.
Was it somebody doing it, or spiritually?
No, spiritually. But it was loud enough for her, and I were playing a board game with my mom, and he was in the room watching TV. And it was so loud, we heard it. We're like, Dad, get the door. Barely 10 o'clock at night. And he goes to get the door, and no one's there. Closes it, goes back to his chair. It happens 2 more times. You know how my dad is. Once he's got to repeat himself on another time, he gets pissed. Yeah. So by the second time already, he's like, why the fuck am I getting up? Got to the door. Just heard the knock. 3 big, hard, like cop-style knocks the second time around.
Nothing there.
The third time was like someone was putting their elbow in the door. Nobody there. So it's like, people can say that stuff about Ghost Adventures, but then people have an experience like my dad.
Yeah. So. Well, out of all the news going on at Ghost Adventures, I can't really... It's hard to defend stuff
I don't know
right
what's
now.
happening.
Yeah, which...
I mean, it could seem like 2 things, right? Yeah. 1, Zach Bagans can be what people are trying to say, and I won't put it out there. And then 2, people are taking this time to give him a lot of negative press, which is still press anyways. Still will get you the attention, because they're not supposed to air his next season of Ghost Adventures until June or July. So people are taking this gap of just time to say some bad stuff.
And if you want, comment down below if you want us to actually do a podcast video about that whole scenario. We've been talking about doing that.
Yeah.
Let us know if you want that.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there.
That's a whole podcast by itself.
At least a couple.
But it's just.
The latest from a week ago was a well-known lady from one of the original shows that started before Ghost Adventures has something to say. Yeah. And it's negative.
But we'll cover all that stuff.
Other guys.
Yeah, we'll cover all that stuff at a different time, just because we don't want to take too much time on this. But kind of going back to the equipment and stuff, the manipulation, people do think that it can happen, but with ours, we have spent a lot of money on the tech, but it is not manipulated. That's why when we film, I focus on the spirit box. And I know sometimes that sound can be a little annoying, but for me, I know that it's real, that it's coming out of it. And also, when I go to edit the footage, I can use the equalizer on the sounds and stuff and actually pick up the voices and everything coming from it.
Well, yeah, and then 2, you heard your name.
Yeah.
Last name first. First name second. on the original way that experiment started. At Hanover Tavern, he was using the original effects from white noise.
So that was even
before it got to devices that create it.
Yeah. So
that's the best way to get something.
So at Hanover, when I heard my last name, that wasn't even our equipment. We just had our camera.
Yep.
We had the body cam and we had this camera. So that was strange, you know, from the very beginning, the get-go. Mm-hmm. So, but I will say the demonic house in Petersburg, as we like to call it, was definitely more of a success than we thought it was going to be. We thought it was just, you know, we were like, hey, let's start doing abandoned properties and do like a category on the channel for that, because I know a lot of people love it. We watch that kind of stuff. We're fans of like Fallout, so we like playing that game and exploring in that. So it's the same thing in life. You know, we like going to places and checking it out. So we were like, why not add it to the channel? And I said, let's do a twist. Let's do a morning version of it, go back at night and see if we can get anything. And I'm glad we did that, because
got a
lot of freaking evidence. There's a couple places we have in mind coming up for investigations. If you live in Virginia, that's where we're from. If you live around the Richmond area, or if you live in any county, honestly, at all in Virginia, and you know of any kind of buildings you want us to go explore or check out, name drop in the comments the city or county, maybe the area or the name of the place. Let us know.
Or if you want to share stuff too, you know, in the comments, drop your email address.
Or if you want better that, the email for the channel is shadowsaboundyt@gmail.com. So that's shadowsabound@youtube@gmail. If you want to send us pictures of buildings, or if you want to tell us of a place like, hey, go check it out, send it to that email. We'll be able to see it right away, and we'll try and set something up. But we have, I think, I won't say the names of stuff, but we have maybe like 5 or 6 places that we have ideas of going next. I've got Hollywood Part 2 to work on. We're going to be bringing you more podcasts. Now that we have the set built visually, you can actually see us talk.
And then, I mean, obviously we have to do the abandoned stuff more, because, you know, what subscriber count we're at now? And that's thanks to you guys. That's telling us you liked that.
So we are approaching 150, which is pretty great. We
started at barely 100 when we did the first Hollywood Cemetery.
Yeah,
we were straddling at 95, 98.
So we started this progress about 3 or 4 months ago, something like that. And we appreciate every single one of you who have subscribed or liked or commented, or all of the above. We appreciate the support. We do this for not only entertaining ourselves, the knowledge, and also the fact that it just brings us joy. And we're also big history buffs too, so we like being able to explore our history, or the world's history. And we get to do the paranormal side of it too, so it's cool. But yeah, we're going to be trying to do some more abandoned stuff, podcast. We got a couple ideas we want to talk about. If you want to see us talk about anything, put it in the comments again as well. But we're just excited to keep progressing. We have been taking, honestly, since we started the channel, the time to build the studio. Happy it's finally finished.
Definitely happy, yeah.
But
took us way too long to do it.
Yeah,
but life gets in the middle of things too, so.
Yeah, it happens. We're busy people. But I did order some stuff today, so we're gonna be touching up and bringing some lights in the back and stuff like that. So we're gonna make it look a little bit different than what it is now. We were just really wanting to get to, you know, biting the jump of getting on the camera.
Upgrade from sound to video. So.
Yeah. We were like, the next podcast is going to be visual, and we said that for the past like 3 months. So you know, finally we were able to do it, which is awesome.
We're adding personal knickknacks to here too.
Yep.
So I mean,
so you'll see it upgraded.
If you want us to put something specific in here, maybe put that in the comments if you want. We'll think about whatever you say. Read it, definitely. We definitely like commenting back.
Yep. But we're going to be trying to upgrade and bring more podcast topics, because we can't always go and investigate, because like he said, life gets in the way. But we would love to chit chat with you guys and chit chat with each other about certain topics. So we're looking to bring you guys a lot more content. So just comment down below what you want to see from us. But until then, thank you for the support for the Shadows Abound channel.
Thank you guys. Thank you for all the subscribes.
We're gonna see you on the next one. You got anything else to say?
No, just thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking what we're posting.
Just messing with you. Alrighty, guys. We'll see you. Have a good one.